Day 6, the Elmina Castle, and also the Cape Coast castles. Even though these were on 2 separate days, I'm combining the two just to kind of show what we did on this part of the tour. So we left Manso, or the Slave River, and drove to the coast. One reason this stands out to me is because of the landscape of the area. The beaches off the coast of Guinea are so pristine and lush and beautiful. It's like anything compared to what you would see in the Caribbean. And it was major for me because it's something other than these images that you normally see of Africa, with mainly, poverty, barren land, desert, disease, and squalor portrayed. We toured the Elmina Castle first, and the next day we visited Cape Coast Castle. Both sites were equally as memorable and impressionable. Very significant part of the Atlantic slave trade, obviously. Lots of information out about these sites. We toured the buildings, the castles, and walked inside of the slave dungeons, through the door of no return, which symbolizes millions of people forced to leave their homes, their family, their culture, and along with that, their identity behind. They were forced onto ships that led to an unknown place. They didn't know where they were going. And for a large number of people crossing through that door, they were being led to their own deaths.
You see a one structure on top of the hill. That is Fort St. Jago, built by the Dutch in the year 1665. Had soldiers stationed over there to protect this place against any attack coming from England. To serve as a military base for the Dutch soldiers to protect this side of the slave dungeon against any attack coming from England. The Dutch. For England's protection, because from the seaside,
so you see these sites on TV or movies, or maybe even reading about this stuff in books, and these castles are portrayed as the setting and backdrop for these stories of American and European history. So it was familiar to me in that sense, but nothing really replaces walking on these sites for yourself. I was immediately noticing the irony of it all. To see the place with all the beauty and grandeur and the splendor on the outside, and it's impressive, but at the same time, I'm viewing all this knowing that it's the setting for the atrocities and like these unimaginable horrors that took place. So just the conditions that our ancestors were living in, all the senses get involved, right? From the smell in the rooms, to touching the walls where hundreds of people were packed in these dark cells, sitting for weeks and months in their own feces, urine, blood. It's terrible, with being denied food, denied access to people that speak their language. And really, it's impossible not to get emotional thinking about just the complete violation of their humanity. And I mean, honestly, you get to the point where you can't really articulate it, right? It's just the only way to describe it is like that it's and it is. So it felt so surreal, and the intensity and overwhelm just, for me, it gives me the realization like, okay, so the people that survived the situation are my ancestors, and so I come from the people that survived this, so therefore I'm filled with rage, and at the same time there's a sense of pride, right, and power also the responsibility to not waste time. You know, we're the descendants of these people who refuse to die, refuse to quit, and so that's the implication to me. Like this, you know, we're real. Survival is in our DNA. So it was a full circle moment, reconnecting with the ancestors, our culture, identity, and heritage. And this is just one part of it. I really don't like to only focus on the darker aspects of what occurred. For me, this is also about bringing the spirit of those ancestors who were forced to leave and survived, bringing that piece of them that's within me back, full circle moment through these gates. And this is, I am their descendant, free to walk back through these gates, not in bondage, but back home, to bring them here in a place of peace and rest.